Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Sun is rising, feel the warmth on my face. There's a lot to do now, but there ain't no race. I sip my coffee, I'm feeling fine. No need to work yet, I'm gonna take my time. It's a brand new day, gotta take it on my way, gotta take it on my way. It's a brand new day, gotta take it on my way, gotta take it on my way.
Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your Resource for Success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. My name is Kimberly McLemore, and I am your host. With us, we have Cine Wright, Realtor, owner of VA Living for You, the Wright team. Welcome, Cine.
Well, good afternoon, Kimberly. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful on this Thursday evening.
Well, that is great. I am so glad that we actually had the opportunity to get together. Your schedule is 10 times busier than mine, so I am so appreciative of this time frame that we're going to be spending together. So could you just do me a favor and tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Well, certainly, I'd be happy to. My name is Cine Wright. I am the founder and owner of VA Living for You, along with, I just launched this year, the Wright Home Team, and we're located here in the Northern Virginia region. My background is I'm military, married to military, and I have a lovely daughter and an amazing husband and an excellent family.
Wow. And I can absolutely tell of the listeners that you are an amazing woman, and also a very good friend of mine, and just a trooper. And that the fact that I'm ex-military, I truly appreciate the fact that I have somebody in my corner like you. And I'm also, a person who's bought a home from you. So, we're just all the way around in a nice, good circle there. So everything is really great. Just a couple questions that I would like to ask. Tell me how you actually got inspired, or who or what inspired you to decide to get into the realty business.
Well, first of all, I've been all around the country, had an opportunity to tour different cities and states, and realized there was a vast opportunity available to me everywhere I went that allowed me the affordability to own my own home versus renting someone else's home. So when I got out of the military in 1995. I tried to work the 9-to-5er. That just didn't work for me. I can't sit still long enough. And I had a burning desire to want to give back to the community that I served 15 plus years with, and making sure that each one of our veterans are always informed, equipped, and just basically knowledgeable about our benefits and what we have available to us in the home ownership arena.
Right, and that's true. One thing I noticed that when we were working together, just having that, the teaching moments that you provided when it came to purchasing a home was incredible, because a lot of times when you're working with a realtor, they don't want to take the time to really give you that full circle of understanding. And I guess a part of it too is depending on who the clientele is, whether they really want to be involved. But you truly made sure that whether or not I was a veteran, that I was being taken care of 100%, and actually 199%. And that was really important to me, and especially being kind of new in the area and for the first time buying a home in the Virginia area versus my hometown where I'm from, in Davenport, Iowa. So your experiences and the way that you provide the service is beyond top notch in my book.
Well, I thank you for that. It's just a matter of always wanting to come from a place of contribution, realize that I had once been a first-time home buyer, and just taking those nuggets of learning of what I would have liked to have happened during my processes, and then the good and the not so good, and combine them all into an all-round, well-rounded group of knowledgeable people. We're a team, so I take that very, very seriously, to want to always have my clientele engaged as a team so that we learn and grow together.
Right, right. Now, you just mentioned, too, that you just put together the Wright Home team. So tell me a little bit more of the background on how that works for you and who your team members are.
Well, it's been a long time dream of mine, as I at some point want to retire and keep my business going, because I just absolutely adore my clients and love what I do. But there is another side of me that wants to embark upon another venue. And so being able to leave that legacy for my family and for my teammates, I decided to open the door up to newer agents who not always someone takes them under their wing and teach them from A to Z, from the bottom up, as I had that opportunity fresh into the real estate business as well. So the Wright Home team actually stems off of a number of things. Obviously, my last name, namesake. Home is very much the key there, and the team concept. So it just made sense to blend it all together and center it around our logo, which is the key that begins with us.
That's right. And it does. It begins with you guys. And like you said, having the opportunity to take people and put them underneath your wing is very important. And I guess I can bring a lot of this up, the fact that, at one time I aspired to be a realtor and, went through the class. The class was pretty good, but the one thing that I found that to me was kind of disheartening was the fact that you didn't have that kind of one-on-one, and then really people didn't focus on business, didn't really truly give you that understanding that once you came out of the classroom that you need to become a business person as well. And so what you're providing and giving the accesses to these young people or whomever it is that's deciding to become a realtor, I think that's really important, because the business piece is probably the most important part, beyond just knowing how to sell a home, for a clientele. So
absolutely.
So, I just think that is some of the things that are missed in some of the classroom environments when it comes down to teaching business, period. And really that's kind of how I got into wanting to do the Realtor blog, which I did for a while. And then that's the reason why I really brought this back in my business, because I really think that people need to focus more on understanding that no matter what you decide to do, whatever your passion is, the business piece is one of the most important pieces. And if you don't have those basic understanding of what it means to run a business, you're going to fail. I don't care how great that product is.
I couldn't agree more, because you have to have a clear concept and understanding of the business entity. That's a big piece with a small term to it, but it is larger than most people believe. They think they could just jump into this business and, the get rich scheme, or I want to make a lot of money. Well, you got to work hard. I mean, extremely hard. There are days that you run 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, literally. And so you have to have a burning passion deep within of wanting to help people. It shouldn't be about the pay, because my belief is if you do your job right, you're going to get paid and you're going to be at the settlement table. However, on the flip side of that, it can go just the opposite as well, because people feel genuality. They want to feel like they matter. And so combining all that, it's real estate is just more than buying and selling and being in business for yourself. It's a collaboration of a number of things. It's almost like a courtship as you're preparing to get married. There's a five-step stage that you go through in real estate. I personally, walking into a room for the first time, meeting someone, I have to earn their trust. It's not an automatic because someone referred them to me, or I walked in a room of like-minded mindset of military people and they recognize my name from someone else's conversation, or they recognize me from seeing me out in on foot patrol, out on the streets, doing what I do, seeing my signage. It's more than that. When I walk into a room, I have got to earn that person's immediate trust to let them know that I have their best interests at heart out the gate. If you lose it in the first 30 seconds, it's lasting. I have to make that eye contact. I have to give them that sense, that genuality of feeling like this is definitely going to be a team. We're going to do this together. And when I introduce myself, that's how I introduce myself. You know, Mr. and Mrs., we're going to collaborate and we're going to come together as a team, or ma'am or sir. We're going to come together as a team. Throughout this process, you're even going to have the opportunity to grade me. And that usually is the icebreaker out the gate, is they feel like, oh, no one's ever told me I get to actually critique them and grade them. Absolutely. Throughout the process, I want to hear from you how this process is going. Do you feel like you're connected? Do you feel like I can do more? What have I left out? What else did you think that should have happened that didn't happen? And let's put it on the table and work with that.
Right, because I mean, a big part of what you do, you're also the liaison between the other pieces that people don't ever think about that are behind the scenes. And so everything really wraps around in a big circle of pure customer service, which you have to provide, like you said, 24/7, you know,
Right.
No matter whether you're in front of us or not, you know, and I think that's really important. And like I said, my experience with you has been beyond, you know, like I said, top notch. And like I said, maybe part of it is because, you know, because of the fact that you're really good, but a big part of it is because of my interest of really wanting to understand how that process works. And I think that makes even a better team when you're trying to purchase a home.
Absolutely, because you have to break everything down so that, you know, I'll throw questions out, ask you to repeat it back to me in your own way so that I know that it's sinking and we're connecting and you're understanding. And if we have to do that 5 or 6, 7 times, then so be it. Because before I can walk away from anyone's that day of the appointment or that evening sitting in your home taking the tour, I have to feel whole within myself that when I walk away that evening, I know that you have a better understanding than perhaps when I walked in. And even a seasoned seller or a buyer, when I say seasoned, you've done this once or twice and pretty much you got a good handle on things. Every real estate transaction is different. Each time you buy and sell, invest, the transaction is going to be totally different. So I try to surround myself with those teammates and partner vendors that think, drink, eat, collaborate all together as a team, because otherwise, if one piece of my team is broken down, then we fail the client.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree with that. But let me just ask this question then, because we know things don't normally run perfect in this field of business that you're in. Talk about some of the, let's talk about some of those challenges that you've had. We won't get into my story, but we'll talk about some of the other challenges.
Absolutely, because we'd be here all night if we talked about your story, Kimberly. Although we had plenty of laughing times, we had tough times for sure. We had the challenging times. People don't like to use the word tough, but it was a tough one. And so if you have people on the other side that are not in it for anything more than to bring two parties together and meeting of the minds to make this thing whole and a memorable experience, then you have those that action verb that says it becomes challenging. And challenging can be faced with a number of different things. Our goal is to find the win-win at the end of the day to make sure that both parties come out winners. So to answer your question with regards to what have been some of the challenges, for instance, we could have hiccups with the home inspection and everybody's perception of who's supposed to do what and who's responsible for the repairs or not. We could have buyers going to ask for everything under the sun. It's not realistic. Especially if you're purchasing a resale property, because you're doing just that, you're purchasing a used product. even in new construction, the misconception is if you're purchasing a new construction, you do not need a home inspection. That is such a farce. I absolutely suggest a home inspection on a new construction because, again, builders cut corners. They sub jobs out. You never will know until later on when you're in the home and you find out this is breaking down, that's breaking down. And oh, by the way, it's not under warranty. So those challenges that can come about, home inspections, title search, a hiccup on the title, meaning there's a cloud on the title that the seller may or may not have been aware of. And so it's going to take a little additional time. So therefore, the targeted date that we had contractually will move. Or it potentially could move. It's going to wreak havoc on a number of people's lives because everybody's playing in the truck to be at the settlement table. We tell people not to do that because at the last minute, anything can go down. The loan side of the financial. So the biggest challenge right now in today's market of 2017 is loan, financial obligations. If you drag your leg on getting documents that your lender is asking for, then add additional days to that. The lenders can only do what they can do, provided they have the information. So this new TRID law that came out last November 2016 has wreaked havoc on all of us. The funny word in our industry is now TRID is the reversal of dirt. It causes havoc, and so we try to avoid those. The challenges are real. We just have to be flexible and be able to find a solution no matter what that looks like. There is always a solution. It's how we get there and can we stay positive along the journey.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times your biggest challenge really isn't on your end or the paperwork process. It's just usually people themselves just not following through, and doing what needs to be done so they can keep things moving appropriately. And, I think that in any business, that's always an issue is dealing with our customers and our clientele. So,
Correct.
I like I said, I applaud anyone who is in this type of business because you are dealing with constant personalities and you never know what you're going to be running into from day in and day out. So it's really important that, if any individual out there is going to get into this business or whether you are going to become a potential client, that you absolutely follow what is being required because, like you said, it will constantly push you back a step here, a step there, and can keep the process not moving the way it needs to be. So
correct, and be realistic about the expectations of the date. So initially when we sit down for a consult, we're discussing all of these timelines and throwing in the what ifs. If your lender asks you something today for a document today, tomorrow, next week, those delays are going to be real delays on the other side. So when your lender, they're not there to bother you. They're not there to pester you. These are requirements. So if it's not in your timeline to get it done at the pace that the lender is asking you to provide those documents, just add another 72 hours to 96 hours to the timeline that you were expecting to do what that end result was going to be, get the keys to your home.
Wow, that's crazy. But it happens. It happens to the best of people because they feel that you're on their time frame versus really it's the other way around. So.
Exactly.
So
we are, by the way, if I can interject, we are on their timeline only when it's hurry up and get me to the settlement table all throughout the processes, and life checks in and it happens and we understand that, which is why on our consult, we're setting the stage up front to let people know that there are timelines that everyone in the forefront, and then there's a team of people behind the scenes that most people never get a chance to meet. Those processors are amazing behind the scene. I call them invisible people because 90% of the people don't ever meet the people that's handling their files. Those are the most significant people to all of us because they're human and they're only pushing as far as and as hard as they can, given the documents that they receive or don't receive. However, they're not the bad people. They really are the cheerleader behind everything.
And I agree with that 100% because I know I had that great experience, working with the people behind the scenes, and I wanted to meet them because I knew without them, we could have never got, things done appropriately and on time, especially with the few challenges that I had to go through, purchasing the home, because of the other side, so it was really great to see those people and know that I could always depend on them. Even if I decide to purchase another home, I know that they will always be there. So
Absolutely.
So it's great to have that full concept of what a real true team looks like, that people don't understand, when they're sitting at home saying, well, why didn't she call, or what's going on? I haven't heard anything. So,
right. Or they send 10 emails or text messages and they want an immediate response. And, that's not realistic. However, everybody on the team does whatever they need to keep the client happy. But there are things that are going to take place that are out of control for any of us. So we want to always be mindful. So again, I want to spin back around to the reason the home team is so important, because I need for people to understand I am not in it by myself. There is a slew of people behind the Wright home team. There's an amazing amount of processors that no one, and Kimberly, you said it first, you said it best. You insisted on meeting everyone that was behind the scenes on your team that put it all together. You're one of the rare ones, because most people blow it off after they got what they want, meaning we got to clear to close. They go about their way and they're like, oh, okay, all right, that's how it happens. Well, no. Oftentimes, just to know that entire team is really visible. They're just not as visible as your realtor or your teammate on the realtor team. But it warms their heart to know that from time to time, people do recognize that they are real.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I really had a great opportunity and love them to death, because I know that I can depend on them if I decide to go down the route again of purchasing another home in the near future. So the one question I want to ask, though, is what has been, if you could just give me an example of one of your greatest successes, what would you think that would be? Because you've been in the business, 15 years now?
I have. January 2nd, 2017, I actually flipped over that 15-year mark. That has been such the 15 years just come so fast. But my greatest success has been every time I sit at the settlement table and I watch the keys exchange across the table, whether I'm on the seller side or I'm on the purchaser side. It's such a feeling of just sheer happiness and gratitude for allowing me that opportunity to ride that journey with them, and then to watch that exchange of the keys and see that smile. It is $1 million smile to see whatever side, whether they're the seller and I'm sitting on the table where the seller is handing over the keys to the purchaser, or vice versa, I'm on the buyer's side, because I do both. When I see the buyer, a dream that they had 3, 4, 5 months ago, even sometimes a year ago. The reality side of that is when those keys are sliding across the table and everybody's jumping up and down and doing the Pharrell Williams happy dance, and just so excited with you. And most people would think, well, they're just keys. No, it's bigger than that. Right. Just the mere fact to see. So my greatest success is every time I sit at the settlement table. It's not just one time. It's every time I sit at the settlement table and I watch that exchange go across the table. That's the biggest success that I could ever experience.
And I can agree. I can definitely agree with that, because as many homes I've ever purchased in the past, that feeling never changes. It's like, okay, I finally got my new home, and whether it's used, maybe used to somebody else, but it's new to you. I mean, just that feeling that you get. And I think we enjoyed and celebrated with a little bubbly after.
Yes, we did. Yes, yeah. And I'm not even a drinker. Imagine that.
So you just get that feeling, of success, even as a person, the client purchasing their home, because, you really did work hard on both ends to make this happen. So yeah, I do understand that piece. And I think for those who haven't experienced that, definitely need to think about, purchasing a home, because it's absolute benefit, whether it's a personal benefit as well as a business benefit for you.
Absolutely.
And the other question I want to ask, because a big part of what you do is always helping people, if there is another woman who wanted to get into this type of business, what recommendations would you provide?
Have them to call me immediately. Not only am I a realtor, I also have the certification and license by the state of Virginia to facilitate the real estate principles class, which is the first step that anyone has to go through to obtain your real estate license. So I would love that opportunity to sit down and just find out what that means. What is it that when a person says, I want to be a realtor, what does that mean really to them? Do they understand the difference between realtor and salesperson? Do they understand the amount of giving? You have to have a heart and want to give back to people, not only in the business, but as a community. You need to be out in the thresholds with the community, not just always about selling, buying and selling, but giving back to the community. That's part of who you are, who you aspire to be. It's rewarding. It's refreshing to know that as a result of something that you're doing to help someone else, you also are helping the community as the economy benefits, the overall community benefits, the market stabilizes, the properties continue to increase in their value. So it goes bigger than that. So helping people, if that is not something that really is in someone's vocabulary, this is probably not the right business to be in.
I agree with that. Absolutely. So on part of that then, so if they wanted to reach out to you, how can the listeners get a hold of you?
So I would be excited and overjoyed if they could just reach out to me. All over social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. VA Living for You is my tagline. It's mine. It's who I am. You type it in the search engine and voila, I pop up. The Wright Home team is out there as well. Right now, currently, I have two teammates, Mylisha McKeever and Blair Beener. We are continuously looking for good talent to continue to grow our team into 7 levels. That's the goal. 7 is a magical number within our family life. It's significant to a multiple amount of things. Also, it's part of the Keller Williams motto with the one thing, the millionaire real estate profit share, growing a team. 7 levels takes you to so many different other venues, and just keeping that passive income coming in. They can reach me at cinewright@gmail.com or the Wright Home Team 7 @gmail.com. And if all else, 703-861-8017 is my personal cell number. My business number is 571-732-7218. That's the team number. And one of my very skillful and excited teammates will be happy to respond to you at any given time. Again, cinewright@gmail.com or the Wright Home Team 7 @gmail.com. That is a number 7, by the way.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on tonight and sharing your experiences, your story. I think this has been an excellent interview. And for anyone, like she said, that's interested in getting into this field of business and becoming a realtor, please reach out to Cine. I'm telling you, it will be worth every minute. I know that for a fact. So, Cine, before we close up tonight, do you have any last words for anybody?
I do. I would like to share my daily affirmation, if I may. This is something near and dear to me. This is something of how I start my day and I close my day. So I would like to extend the same affirmation to you as well. And it goes like this. My daily affirmation: I am grateful for who I am. I will not wait to have a good day. I will make one. I cannot climb uphill thinking downhill thoughts. My every imperfection is uniquely perfect in its own way. I am blessed and highly favored. Yes, I am happy with me. Be happy with yourself, no matter what that is, what industry, what that looks like. Always be happy with yourself. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I really appreciate this opportunity. This has been such an amazing opportunity for me, and I am just so thankful.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. It's my pleasure. And like I said again, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. For everyone else, good night to everyone. We'll be back next Thursday. You can find me here every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. You can also find me at WSBI website anytime at www.wsbillc.com. You can also visit me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Until then, enjoy the rest of your evening.